They're actually facing an existential threat. Now, what Guest Ready has done is that if, say, for example, he owns 30 Airbnbs, right? Guest Ready have built a platform, it's a software that enables him to be able to other people who own Airbnbs. And now that is B2B, which means it's actually an interesting idea. Then we ask ourselves, okay, in the Kenyan market, am I in Coast Region? Who is doing something similar to Guest Ready? Does that business exist? Right? That's why I'm glad that we have people like you. Have you had people approaching you with such platforms? If it doesn't, then we try to dig deeper. Is it possible to create the next Guest Ready? And can they scale? Right? Let's move forward. I talked about this, so we can skip that. Yeah, Peter was telling us about virtual reality, right? So you've checked into your hotel. You want to see what do I need, which places do I need to go to in Mombasa? And I'm glad we have hotels over here, right? So the assumption is you have these VR headsets accessible at the hotel. You put them on, and you want to see which places can I tour hapa Mombasa. This is actually different from just watching a video on YouTube. You get more immersed when you have this on compared to just watching a plain video, right? This is known as virtual reality. So then we ask ourselves, do we have a business in Mombasa that is actually offering something similar to this, right? If it's not, and actually this is an interesting business, actually, we're interested in folks building these businesses. Because at the same time, we're also trying to talk to hotels. As there is market hapa, hakuna market pale. And that is actually going to be the next session. So, Simiyu, if we can get people at least asking questions, then I think the next session itakuwa even shorter.
So for the Q&A, let's just take at least 5 minutes, or at most 5 minutes. Then we get to the group discussions as stakeholders so that we can create an enabling environment for our entrepreneurs in Mombasa, Sindio. So Ziri, there's a lady there, and Aisha, and we have two at the back, and our dad here.
Hello, everyone. My name is Isabel. I'm coming from Malindi. So I was wondering how the people who are outside Mombasa, how are you going to support them? As much as you say it's going to be 3 months long, is it going to be online? Is it going to be physical? What's the support for those who are a bit far away from Mombasa?
Check. Let's do the transitions quickly.
Good morning.
Morning.
I'm Nathan from Ilima Grabis Farm. We offer. How is the farm like me going to benefit? Yeah, that's the question.
That question. To benefit as a customer or as a business? When the customer logs in,
Our farm. How are we going to get the benefit from that experience on his end? Is there a solution to that?
Hi everyone. My name is Esha, and I was listening to Sharon speak, and she said something clearly in terms of skilling. She said that the young people that said that was done by an organization here in actually Swahili would have. Most of our young people do not have those skills that we are talking about. So it means you've already cut them for this opportunity. And also it means we are risking to just get the same people getting this opportunity, and not the young people that we work with, especially within our project, that is the case management project, and also as young people who are not skilled. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Sorry. Yes, my name's George Kanyere Mugo. I work with hospitality industry and North Coast Beach Hotel in Kikambala. And the hotel belongs to Kenyatta University. It's Parastato, a hotel that opened in the year The hotel opened in the year 2009, and I'm so much impressed by this particular program because, number one, it is cutting across the age and more so focusing on the youth. Are they calling themselves the Gen Z? Yeah. Thank you very much. I actually came in, as I walked in, I found a colleague, a former attaché in our hotel, Zia. I found him here. And one thing I feel I want to comment is that we missed out in the program is about the health. We are very much concerned about people's health now and how we can be able to assist people out of drugs. Because nowadays, when you go to hospital, you realize that is where now the business is. Even if you are going there for flu treatment, the assumption is that the disease is exaggerated. You end up spending a lot of money. But I'm sure we can be able to come up with a center of attraction in terms of health treatment to community, where we can come up with a health or gymnastic, where people come and exercise here, and they are well at the end of the day. And number two, I'm very much concerned about the health in about dietary. I feel that if we are able to take good care of the dietary in this particular area, and we market it, preach about it, and more so we have a mission and vision about our program so that we can be able to preach these gospel to people and reach out many people outside there. So if I would request that you come up with a mission and vision statement of this particular program, so that you know when you start where you want to end. Because that is why it's a journey, and it will sustain you following up with the program, because you know what you will benefit at the end of the day. If we go back to the hospitality etiquette, we have a problem with etiquette. People just eat anyhow in the hotel without caring the outcome at the end of the day. So I wanted to talk about kidogo about the way back of corona issue. The most people who died very fast were hoteliers, because they deal with food all the time, and they don't believe that they can get hungry. So when the corona came up, we are the most people first to be affected, because we could not reach out the food the way we are used to, the eating habit, and number one, we died very fast of hunger. Then when we're in business, we die very fast because we eat anyhow, anything. And then you end up getting the diabetes, getting the high blood pressure. Mostly in the hotels, we get a very fast high blood pressure because we are not controlled. So I believe if we can come up with an attraction of a health caring center in this particular hub, we can be able to help a lot of Kenyans around. I want to hand over the mic, but that is my concern. Thank you.
Hello, Assalamu alaikum. I'm Dr. Mariam Swale from Technical University of Mombasa. So one thing I saw for the participants, there was no level of education, so probably you could define that. So if it doesn't matter or they need this level. And also, I know you mentioned, but also like, I know it cuts across, but also in terms of the skill level. I don't know if you talked about it or not, like skill level. Should these people have specific skill sets so that they can be enrolled? Then the last thing is, there is no money, which is understood, but after the program, you know, you're going to engage people for 3 months. What is the motivation to go into the program for 3 months, no money, and after that, I'm not gaining any equipment. It's just probably in this case, it's the skills. So, yeah, I like the program. It's a good thing, what you're doing.
Thank you so much. Ziri, 2 more, then we continue.
Hello, I'm Ndukuchalo, and my question comes to, it entails the equipment. You talked about providing equipment. So does this equipment only cater for the virtual sectors or even the practical ones? And these practical sectors, how do you plan to regulate the equipment in such a way that once, because Arafat mentioned, you're looking, with time, you will, you have a tender for the equipment, then how will you ensure that this equipment that will be rented to you guys is well maintained such that it comes back to the owners in good condition as it was given out before? Thank you.
Thank you so much. One last.
Hello, my name is Dennis Kokona from ICT Authority. So my concern is about partnership. I know ICT Authority, we can offer partnership in digital entrepreneurship training. So how can that be done? And also the other concern is about skills. At ICT Authority, we do receive innovations from innovators, and we do not cap them on skill set. For example, you don't have to be a programmer, but the idea is yours. When you register that idea, maybe to Kipi, it's just your idea. You don't need to have a skill in that. So why is there a caveat on that? Thank you.
Tumpigieni makofi kidogo, umesikia kuna collaborator in the building. Mukasa, in less than 2 minutes, then we go into the group discussions, okay?
Yeah, sure. Thanks. I think some of these questions are going to be tackled when we break out in those sessions. Sharon, can...
Oh, okay. So I'll answer just 2 questions. Support for those who are not in Mombasa. As I had said, the program will be taking place in 3 counties, that is Mombasa, Kilifi, and Kwale. That is to say, if we will be having a training session, not only will we have a training session in Mombasa, for those who are able to come to Mombasa, we will have a training session in Mombasa. We'll still have a training session in Kilifi and in Kwale. For example, next week we are starting info sessions. Our info sessions, we will be having at least 6 info sessions that are also targeted to the PWDs, as Arafat mentioned. So for the 2 of these sessions, one will be in Kilifi County and one will be in Kwale County. That is to say, those who are not in Mombasa are also able to access the services. Another thing, equipment. Secondly, stakeholder engagement forum are our possible partners and market. So the moment you are in this training, we have already had this stakeholder engagement. We've already formed partners with some of the people here. So when we are bringing that young person on board, this young person has a hope that by the time I'm developing this product, there's a market somewhere for me. Is that, I hope I've answered your question.
Yeah, but also to add to what Sharon has said, so we anticipate there will be weekly training sessions, and yeah, they will be provided with support, transport, kukuja na kurudi for the trainings, right? Because this is going to be the operational base. And that's why we haven't done Lamu, we haven't done Taita Taveta, right? So they will be provided with transport, ya kwenda na kurudi, right? For those trainings. I know travelers nowadays are interested in getting themselves immersed in the communities, right? So the farming that you do, can you transform that to be a tourist product, an experience? Like if a tourist comes from Spain, from the UK, can you take them on a tour so that they get immersed? They do farming, rabbit farming, whichever case it is that you do. Because I think that is, Peter, when we had the stakeholder engagement forum with, say, for example, Kenya Tourism Board, there are some of the things that they mentioned, right? So can you package it and actually can get in touch with Peter? He will be able to support you on that, right? So once you have it as that product, then if we have, for example, that youth who's shooting those videos, they can come and take it as an experience, right? And showcase it to people who could, okay, if you want to go do, say, for example, rabbit farming, like, here's an experience, right? So that is one way virtual reality can be applied to, for example, someone like you. Oh, interesting. Peter, can you help answer that? Can you help answer that? Okay, yeah, but Peter, please just help me answer that, because that is actually very important, right? How can that translate to, so if so he does rabbit farming, right? Rabbit farming, right? So if he packages rabbit farming as an experience, right? And that experience has been marketed to travelers, right? How can it translate to money
Yes, thank you so much. He's actually one of the trainees and beneficiary of Mombasa Tourism Innovation Lab. And we are trying to look at beyond taking people to Fort Jesus, beyond taking them to Hala Park, what else can they do when they come to Mombasa? And going into a micro for tourists. Tourists want to immerse themselves into what people are doing, look at what, they do on a daily basis. So packaging that and putting up in travel marketplaces like TripAdvisor, Booking.com, Viata, and there are so many, could be one of the best, way you can earn money, putting that into an experience, packaging it into something that can be bought by a tourist who is visiting Kenya and trying to see, this could be an interesting thing for me to spend a day just going to some place in Baburi, spending some time in a rabbit farm. So ideally you are going to sell and you are going to charge. You are going to charge that tour maybe $20, $30, and that is exactly how you are going to make money. And if there is any other person here who is probably thinking of developing an experience, when we're breaking out for the tourism sector, I'll be able to tell you more, including showing you some of other people who have done that successfully. Thank you.
All right, cool. So maybe something else I would like to add, right? So actually for such businesses, this is actually how we also think about them, right? So there is you who is actually offering the experience. Let's say, for example, that experience was discovered at his hotel, right? Or at his Airbnb, right? And then on this other end, you have the youth who is actually offering, who came and shot that experience, the video, right? So there are 3 players. And actually, each one of them needs to earn. The same way Uber, like, wanna earn, driver piana, and earn, right? Fix it, right? He earns, you earn as the person offering the experience, but at the same time, even the youth earns, right? Because it's more revenue for yourself, for your case, more revenue for you, and it's like, okay, it turns out actually good business. But this, actually can't wait to see the lessons from this, right? This is a good idea, man. Right? And we'd actually be glad to know, does this thing work? Would you like offer you to come and do such things like this at your hotel, right? If it won't work, yeah, please let us know so that we kill those ideas, right? Anyway, the other question was skilling. I'm glad you asked that question. Yeah. And actually, there is an international standard, right? Where people are grouped based on different skills. I think kuna skill level 1, 2, 3, and 4, right? So for example, somebody who's got, I think, PhD, masters, I think it's skill level 1, degree, I think it's skill level 3, Somebody who said maybe, I think it's primary, they've never gone to school, I think it's skill level 4, right? That's how they... So one of the things that we're getting to ask ourselves as well when we break out is, if you identify a weak link in a value chain, then what skills are required? For example, if it's going to be this virtual reality, and that is the idea, right? Then I'm glad we have people from technology who will be guiding. We need to know what skill set are required. What skills do they need, right? What level of education, right, is kind of like required for some of these ideas, right? We talked about underwater photography and videography. Our assumption is, actually even someone who's never gone to school can actually be able to take photos and videos underwater, right? So that means this is actually a business idea that is actually applicable. The only condition is that they need to know how to swim. If they don't know how to dive, then we can, but we're not going to train people how to learn how to swim, but we can train people how to dive, right? So the assumption is, if you want to do underwater photography and videography, one requirement, the skill you need to have is how to swim. Now, one of the things that we haven't figured out, because we're short of time, how can we prove that people know how to swim? Right? That is the thing, right? Yeah. Okay, he talked about health. We're looking at a couple of innovations in health, right? A center, so this is some sort of like a clinic, a physical facility. That's a good idea. The downside is that it's capital intensive. And let's see which company in Kenya I think is striving to set up those networks of hospitals. Afia, is it Equity Afia?
She's also establishing outreach centers in most of the counties within Kenya, and a few other private hospitals, so to say.
So, yeah, so now we get to ask ourselves, is it actually possible to compete with Aga Khan and Equity Afias and the others, right? And this is actually not even just to Kenya. We're all familiar with Amazon, right? So anyway, it turns out Amazon has acquired, which is literally like the Jumia, right? Amazon acquired One Medical in the US, and One Medical is doing something similar to what Aga Khan is doing. But then they acquire and infuse technology in just about everything that they do, right? So we then ask ourselves, is it actually going to be possible to do such kind of a business in 3 months? Those are actually the questions. Is it possible to set it up in 3 months, right? So those are some of the questions we're asking ourselves. Then build money to build a success. So equipment, virtual reality, and stuff like that. So for practical ones, one of the business ideas we're looking at in creative and arts, specifically subsector ya fashion and design, right? Let me give you an example. Recently, I went to Marikiti, I bought a polo shirt, 900 shillings, right? That's one thing. Look at the brand, that polo shirt is imported from Bangladesh. So, it's imported from Bangladesh. Now, we're getting to ask ourselves, when we engage here in Kenya, that got you that same polo shirt, same quality, let's say lower price point, because it's going to be made in Kenya. So instead of, it's going to cost, say, it will be less cost to them, right? Would you buy instead of importing from Bangladesh? That is the question we're asking ourselves. Wakisema, yes, they can buy, and they need huge volumes, then we go to EPZ. For example, Mega Apparel. Tunauliza, hey, you know what, like, okay, we want to support youths doing da-da-da-da-da-da. Can you please support these youths can you offer them access to your equipment? So for EPZs, we rent their equipment, or like whichever case it is, right? Then if they can say they can be able to produce those volumes, what we shall provide you with is those sewing machines, right? What we shall not provide you with is the material, the yarns and stuff like that. Hizo unajitafutilia mwenyewe, right? Youth to produce, say, these shirts in bulk and sell in Marikiti. Once we confirm those ends tick, then say, okay, now we can support a business over here. If any of those fails, that means we can't, it's going to be hard, right? So we're not only just looking at tech, but rather also other non-tech, right? So how equipment are going to be well maintained? We don't have an answer to that yet. And yeah, ICT Authority, thanks a lot. Let's get to continue on with this conversation, but glad that you've proposed that.
Thank you, Mukasa. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So, I hope my team leads are in the building. Where is Amina Mahmoud, who will be leading the health team? Okay, so what about now, ladies and gentlemen? Ningeomba tusimame kidogo. Tusimame tu kidogo popote ulipo. Naomba tusimame kidogo. Sawa? Tusimame kidogo. Huko nyuma mnaniona? Amnioni? Oh, mnanisikia? Hello? Mnanisikia? Nataka tufanye exercise very simple. Inaitwa pato. Mnaijua hiyo? Mnaijua? Haya, do as I say, not as I do. Sawa sawa? Pato. Kuna mwingine afanye hapo. Fanya na mikono miwili. Ni vile nimeshikilia microphone. Ama acha basi niweke kwa mic stand. Very quickly. Sawa. Odipo, where you are, if you can hear my voice. Pato. 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 So, thank you so much. You can have your seats. Okay. Tulikuwa na sectors 12, si ndio? So the first 5 sectors will go upstairs, co-working space na boardroom. Wata mix hapo. So we are trying to accommodate you within the whole of this space. So the first 5 sectors tutapanda juu, na vile tumekumbuka tech mtaingia kwa team zote, sawa sawa, mtabalance. Hata kama tuna interns, tuna balance. So the first 5 ni health, education, agriculture, ya 4 hospitality, tourism and blue economy, and 5 heritage. So za tano za kwanza ndizi hapa.
Amina. So tunataka kutafuta stakeholders wenye kwa audience. Kama nini? Tech nini kama na sasa nataka tu nijue nimesha announce so where I'm guiding them.
So by show of hands, if you fall into any of these 5 subsectors, kindly rise up. Health, education, agriculture, hospitality, tourism and blue economy, and heritage, so that we can guide you where to go.
Hapo tu. So, before we give you the questions, it's very simple. Amina, where is Amina? Amina, kuja tafadhali. So this is Amina. Abdurrahman Ndegwa, kindly come. John K. John Kamau. K. Yes, asante. Here is John K. Kuna physical security. Nimeona I have seen a very big company of security hapa ndani. Anybody will volunteer? Any volunteer in the transport business? Come. Transport business? Tafadhali ni stakeholders. Tusonge nayo. Transport? Okay, you'll get somebody. Renewable energy, solar and all that. So we can mix renewable energy na electric mobility. We can have a discussion. Anybody? Mwenye na advocate? Ako wapi? Green economy, nilisikia kuna mtu wa green economy. Kindly come. Thank you. Kindly. Asante. Just kindly come. And then we have heritage. We have Abdurrahman Ndegwa, who is here. So wale watoto would love to discuss anything in the heritage space. Ako hapa. And then hospitality, we have Peter Kibe here. Whatever we have discussed in those groups. Then once that is done, I can see technology, ndakuwa na Innovas. Mukhtar kuja tafadhali. Wale watoto in the tech space, we have Innovas here. So, whatever we're going to do, you're going to follow in the boardroom. Boardroom utaingia tu hapo, utapanda stairs, we have
All right. Sir, there are meant to be 7 tables here. There are meant to be 7 tables. Okay. All right. Wait a bit. Kabla mjatoka, please,